What is up, guys? What is up? Everybody, please, if you can, let me know if you can see Matt over on the right-hand side. I can't see Matt for some reason. So we're trying to run with this just like this. Please hit that like button. If you haven't already, I apologize for being late. We're trying to work through some technical difficulties. Somebody let me know whether you can see Matt on the screen. Okay, they say they see you, Matt. I can't see you for some odd reason.
Hey, it doesn't matter. We're here together.
Yeah, and, that's it.
That's
well,
it.
I can hear you. I just can't see you for some reason.
That's
so
the
good.
important
Well, that's
part,
awesome.
Right?
So, guys, I appreciate you guys being here tonight. Matt and I have been working through trying to work out this whatever this little technical glitch is, and I can't see Matt, but Matt can see me. So that's great. So we're going to keep rolling. Yes, and he's got his daughter in the house with him, and so give her a shout out. Matt, what's your daughter's name?
Can you say hello?
Hello.
Can you tell them what your name is?
My name's Alan Grace Howell.
Can you wave at everyone? Yep. So this is Adeline. She's here with me. We've had a dada-daughter day all day. And what have we done today, Adeline?
We went on the river.
We went on the river today. That's right. And what did we do today?
We dug some holes.
We dug some holes.
Some holes.
That's what we did. Yeah. And we found some treasure, right?
And we found some treasure.
If anybody's interested, I'm creating a treasure hunting monster. So this is how you do it. Show them what we found. Now, I know you can't see this, but what she's holding up is a
shark's tooth.
A big shark tooth. Just a little under 4 inches. So it's a monster.
Wow. That is really cool. Matt, I'm gonna pull you up on my computers. Wow, that is really cool.
We will work through all these technical difficulties, and that's the fun part of all of this, right?
Oh yeah, when you're doing live stream, that's just part of it, unfortunately. So I got you now, Matt. I can see you.
There we go.
Good. We're good. So I wanted to have Matt on tonight. Matt is such a diverse hunter. I mean, he does so many different things. And I wanted you guys to be able to, ask questions of Matt and let Matt tell you a little bit about himself, what he does. Of course, a lot of you know that he was on Beyond Oak Island, and we're going to talk about that in the video. But Matt, tell us a little bit about your style of hunting, what you really like to do, and what type of hunting you prefer the best.
So my name is Matt. This is Adeline. Obviously, as you guys have seen already, I am, for like it or love it or hate it, I would call myself a treasure hunter. I wouldn't call myself a metal detectorist. I wouldn't call myself a scuba diver. I'm an adventurer. I love being outdoors and exploring. I just happen to use metal detectors for a lot of my exploring and my life. And I've become quite good with them. I started metal detecting and treasure hunting, as I call it, as most archaeologists would hate the term,
Right.
In 2010. A little bit about my backstory in my life. I live in Hanover County, Virginia, which I consider to be one of the epicenters of the American Civil War.
Right.
Not only do we have all of the travel of the early war, 1862 conflict of Gaines Mill during the Civil War battle. I personally live on the Topotomy Creek battlefield, May 28th of 1864, and then which was subsequently followed by the conflict of Cold Harbor, in June of 1864 as well, just prior to the stalemate at Petersburg. So not only that, I happen to live in the land of the Henrys, Patrick Henry being the great American orator and speaker, and Henry Clay, an American statesman, one of the first senators from Kentucky.
Right.
So I live in an amazing, amazing place, and we have just history oozing out of everywhere if you go and look for it. So I started when I started, I grew up seeing these guys with these metal detectors and these giant white heads, and they were out walking around the field, these lumbering metal detectors. And I always wanted to know what they were finding. And it took me a long time in life. I moved home from Montana in 2010 with my fiance at that time. And
Right.
it was my first metal detector, which was a Mind Lab E-Track. And
All right. The E-Track. I had an E-Track too, Matt.
oh man, it's an amazing machine. I still have my my Sunray probe for my E-Track here because
Oh yeah, the Sunray Probe was awesome, dude.
the best print pinpointer ever made.
Yeah, it sure was.
I love the carrots. I love the MyLab MI6, but man, that Sunray probe just like it had everything. So I moved into those into that machine. Hey, you singing girl? You want to go watch the show? No, she doesn't want to watch the show. She wants to hang out with Dada. Moved into that machine and started digging, and I was hooked immediately.
Right. Yeah. Well, I know you're a big XP Deus II user, and a lot of people on here are big XP Deus II users because this is sort of become the channel for XP Deus II users.
Yeah.
Tell us,
and unfortunately, I missed you at Dig Stock. I tried. I don't know how our paths didn't cross, but
well, I was there at the beginning, and then I actually went out and hunted a few times, so we might have missed during that point. But yeah, I was at the XP booth all during that time.
Yeah, it was a busy place. Busy.
Oh,
place.
It was. It was definitely. I mean, we're talking about almost 1,200 people that were at Dig Stock. And I know Matt was there. Matt, did you find anything while you were there? That's the question.
So I did a little bit of research, and I kind of knew some of the history of the area prior. I picked out a field that I felt like had a really solid potential.
Right.
And, I worked across that field the first morning digging can slaw like everybody else. And then I started popping flat buttons. I think I dug 3 or 4 flat buttons. Right up to where I thought a very prominent area was, and that area ended it ended right at the property line. So I'm sure that the items I was looking for continued.
Right.
I spent the next couple days or the next few hours, I'd say, going site to site looking for house sites. This little crazy girl showed up and spent the rest of the time with me.
Yeah.
And then we ended
I don't know like it was.
And then we ended up wandering fields looking for arrowheads.
I don't know like it
Yeah.
was.
Didn't you find some arrowheads?
I don't know like it was, but it was like I know.
Yeah, I know.
So Matt, I know I've watched a couple of your videos, and I know you had an XP Deus II. Have you updated to the new version of the XP Deus II? I know a lot of people are curious about that.
Yeah. So all right, I'm gonna have to calm down a silly person.
Okay.
Adeline, I need you to calm down. Let's go watch a show. All right, we're gonna go watch a show. I already got us tuned up. Say bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
See you later.
All right, we'll be right back, guys. Sorry about that.
That's okay.
The cost of 4-year-old life.
Yeah, I get it. Hey, I get it 100%. Okay, guys. So while Matt is taking care of family business, let's talk a little bit. How many of you have updated to the 1.1 software, and what are you guys' thoughts as far as what you're seeing from 1.1? I'm real curious. Just put them up here, and I will throw them up on the screen. I know a lot of you are eager to tell, and tell me a little bit about what you're seeing so far, because that's going to be the main thing with a lot of you.
All right.
Jedi says, what do I have in that cup? Well, I've got nothing but Coca-Cola in this cup. This is a big Gamecock Cup. I'm a South Carolina fan. Yeah.
So updating the XP Deus II. I have not. I skipped the first update. I skipped the second update. I see they released XP Deus version. What is it? 1.1. I'm gonna
Right.
skip that one too. It's I know I understand what they're trying to do with the updates.
Right. Right.
When I saw the initial group of folks updating, I was a little like I was hesitant about it. I'm a big technology guy, but I'm also I have a hard time with vetting technology. I
Right.
guess if that makes sense. I want to see if it works. I want to see if it works well. I expect a company like XP to be able to produce an update to a machine, especially
Right.
with that range
Right.
of feature changes to make sure it's going to work well. And then two, that their soft technology, their website,
Right.
is able to handle that traffic because everybody wants that update, right?
Right. Yeah.
So I probably will update eventually, but it seems like the traffic, they had a hard time with it.
Right. So you're still on 0.71, is that correct?
0.6, I think.
0.6. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So, with the 0.7, 0.70, and then there was 0.71, you got the big numbers, and that was basically it. And you got rid of a lot of the silent EMI with 0.71. And so that was the main thing that was the difference between 0.6 and 0.71. But there were some other differences too. But those were some of the ones that I noticed right off the bat. So, yeah,
And
I haven't updated yet. I'm going to do that tonight. I am going to go to 1.1. The 0.71 filters are still are going to be the ones that they're going to transfer over onto 1.1. If you had 1.0, then and they're going to 1.1, then you're going to see a change in those filters, and you're going to go back to 0.71 because of iron faulting issues. And Matt, I know you're a diver too. How do you like the XP Deus II for diving?
it's not it's not my diving machine. I got to be honest with you. It's not
Okay,
robust
but that's
enough.
fine.
I like the Deus. I like I like the I like the I like the Deus for a number of things.
Right.
I'm going to be honest and straightforward that I'm not a one machine fits all person.
Okay.
I really believe there's a tool for the toolbox, and I think that the Deus really fits a lot of those needs.
Right.
It's adjustable. I could have a flathead screwdriver or a Phillips head with the Deus, but in
Yeah.
reality, I'm a PI guy. I hunt the hot places in Culpeper a
Right.
lot,
Yeah.
and the Deus really, and for that fact alone, no other machine, VLF machine, will handle that. So but and when it comes to a house site or a really iron infested area, I'm a Deus guy all day long.
Right. Yeah. That's the way I am too. Now, I've never hunted really hot dirt because I live in South Carolina, and
Mhm.
most of
You
my
look-
soil is very, very mild. So I really don't have a problem with hot dirt. So I know at Culpeper, I know I've heard everybody tell the stories and everything. And I'm sure the PI machines are the only way to go at Culpeper. Is that correct?
Um, so there are some exceptions. I've seen some incredible finds made with VLF machines in Culpeper. And for folks who don't know, Culpeper County, Virginia, is the hotbed of Civil War activity, specifically winter camps from 1863, the winter of
Right.
1863 and 64. You're looking at upwards of 150,000 troops that camped within about 10 or 15 square miles.
Oh, wow. I didn't
And
realize there were that many troops.
oh yeah, yeah. And so you're talking about dug-in huts, you're talking about trash pits, latrines, all of the things that you really want to find when it comes to Civil War.
Right.
But it runs right through the Gold Belt region of Virginia, and many people don't realize that parts of Maryland, Virginia, and North Carolina have a very large gold vein. When you have that, you have a lot of iron ore in the ground, and the iron ore will typically false a VLF machine very hard. But that said, I've seen some of the most incredible finds made at 2-3 inches with the VLF machine, because the iron density was so thick that a pulse machine couldn't handle it.
Oh, wow.
So it's a different beast there. It's not, I had a group come down from New Jersey, and they offered to organize hunt, and they said, "Oh, we know what."
I think I have my first button.
Hang on one second. I'm sorry.
Yeah, you're good. They told me we know what deep iron and we know what hot ground sounds like, and they invited 100 folks to an organized hunt, and they told them VLF machines would be great. And me and 2 of my friends were using PI machines, and nobody found anything. We kind of felt bad for everybody because PI machines work, and we found a lot of stuff.
Right. Yeah. So which PI? Yeah, I think you use the mine. You use the.
We use it. Yeah, GPX 4500, 5000.
Okay.
The early days, the Garrett Infinium worked. The new Garrett Axiom. There's been a couple other PI machines to work, but pretty much the 4500 is kind of the king of the hill.
Right. Yeah, I've never used a PI machine, so but like I said, I don't have to deal with hot dirt here in South Carolina, so I can go and hunt, and I don't have those issues because the Deus II just does a great job for me all the way around. So I can go out and I can dig 14, 15, 16-inch targets, and the Deus II just performs extremely well. Now, I know you came up with a program for a really deep program, and I know that was on the Deus II, and I think you were using General. Is that correct?
Yeah, so I started messing around, following Gary Blackwell, and I kind of, through the years, through the use of the Deus, I mean, I was a pretty heavy Deus 1 user as well. I mean, it was pretty much that, a diving machine or a PI machine for my for kind of my arsenal. And we kind of bounced through some deep programs that we use. And basically, prior to coming up, basing it off the General, we were using the deep HC or high conductor program.
Right. Yeah.
But what I found is I was looking for, in my current setup, very deep targets in the most stable manner. Because when you start really cranking the Deus II up, you end up with a lot of falsing, a little bit of chatter. You can really run into some EMI.
Right.
But, I kind of set that program up to be as stable as possible, but dig as deep as possible. Now, a lot of people commented on that video and said, "Hey, this isn't the deepest Deus program, or you could do it better this way or that way."
Right.
And there's always, a million people run these machines a million different ways. And, that kind of wasn't the point. It was just to try to make the machine as deep as possible while staying as stable as possible.
And the funny thing is, the thing I love about the Deus II, and I'm sure you'll agree with this, is just that it's so customizable to set it up for whatever site you're hunting. Whether it's a site like at Culpeper, or a site that's loaded with iron, or a park, or a site where you're going to just dig deep targets. That's the thing that I really love about the Deus II, is that you can do all those different types of things. And I think, that's what makes this machine so unique, is that it is fully customizable. And then, of course, like I said, I know you haven't updated, but with the new features that they're putting on this machine, you've got you've just got all kinds of opportunities that you can take advantage of to help you with the offset full tones, the max frequency, the audio filter, those types of things that they've added to this new update. I think it's just turning into a machine that just gives you so much more than what you even had at 0.71 or in 0.60. So those are the things that I know a lot of people have been looking forward to, is those new features. So again, if you haven't updated, Matt, you might want to give it a shot, or if you've got more than one machine, maybe update one and leave the other at whatever you like, and then see how it works.
Yeah, I'm gonna update. I'm just taking my time as far as that goes. For me, I migrate through seasons, and this
Yeah.
is my water season right now.
Yeah, sure.
And I will, and I'll get back into the land, and it's it's an interesting machine. I really like it. I think it's a fantastic. I like a lot of things that XP has done with it. I sell machines, so I won't. I'm not gonna lie to you and tell you that I lean heavily on the XP because I think it's a great machine for everybody's level of entry. But
Right.
it's maybe not always as budget friendly as some folks.
Exactly.
Some folks
And,
are.
and that's one thing too that I've preached on this channel, is just that, hey, you got to use the machine that works for you and it fits your budget.
Yeah,
And the best thing to do is just to go out and just learn your machine and make the
that's right.
most of that machine.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so I will update it. I like the XP. I think it's phenomenal, and I've gotten into some of the other coils. Typically, I'm a house site hunter when it comes to land.
Yeah. Yeah.
I like to go to the places where other people shied away from in their early days. It's where I typically find a lot of my Confederate buttons.
And I
But
know you living in Virginia, most of the sites that probably are the most recognizable, or the ones that people probably know a lot about, have probably already been really hunted hard. And I know that that can sometimes be tough to go back into, to try to hunt behind somebody. I know I do a lot of that down here in South Carolina, because most of those sites people already know about. And but I do feel like that the Deus II does give me an advantage over some of those older machines that have been through those sites. What do you think? How do you feel about that?
yeah, so where I like the dais is in the city, in the trashy yards, the
Right,
trashy places. When I get into, you know, it, there are just so many places to use it like that are garbage infested, and you're gonna dig a lot of trash, a lot of aluminum. Those good targets going to sound like buttons or coins or whatever they are, based off where you are, and you're just going to have to slow down and dig more of that stuff.
right,
I teach a lot of folks about metal detecting, but I teach more so. There's two things I tell folks is I teach a lot of metal detecting theory, or what I call metal detecting theory,
right,
right? And regardless of what machine you have, or who you are, or what you do, is you can't you have to be an elephant. You can't eat an entire cake at one time. You have to take one bite
right.
at a time
That's right.
till you get through it,
I like
right?
that analogy.
That's right. So I think of metal detecting, especially with the idea of multiple machines, or even like the Deus II, using multiple settings. So
Right,
typically on my machine, the way I run my machine is I run bookends. So on either side, I have a shallow program and a shallow program. And then I have a medium depth program and a deep depth program. And on the other side of that is back to my shallow program. What that allows me to do, it allows me to quick check any target by using a program with different settings or different depth ability of the
right,
program that I'm using. So I can quick check things very quickly. And when I'm on a new site, or a place that I'm not sure about, or even a place that I know has a ton of history,
right,
but has a ton of trash, I think about building a cake, right? You know, you can't go if you're you're building a sheet cake, you build it all in layers. So if you're going to deconstruct that cake, you're going to take the top layer off first. Then you're going to come back down. You're going to go to the middle layer, and then you're going to go to the very bottom layer. And I think about that in the idea of Deus programs. So if I'm at a brand new site, people tell me I'm crazy. I may run a very shallow program to take all of that top layer of garbage. Maybe it's aluminum cans, maybe it's buckshot or shotgun caps, just to take those out of there. And then I'll grid it again with a medium depth program that I have set up, right? Because I'm not trying to push all that machine, all that power right through to try to get the deepest things that I know are there.
So you go through stages as far as when you go to hunt a site.
Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely.
And I think that's perfect. So you're going to hunt the upper layer first, middle layer, and then go deep.
Yep. And I may hunt an area 10 or 15 times before I feel like I've really done a good job.
Right.
And
that's great, because there are some people on here right now that maybe haven't approached a site like that. And, we get so caught up in depth, that everybody wants to hunt deep. But we forget that some of our best targets might not even be more than 2 or 4 inches underneath the dirt.
So my best site I've ever had, Michael Cooley asked, what do I consider my best?
Yes.
My best find? And I typically don't consider my best find. I typically think of places and things that I did to get.
I do the same thing.
Right. To get to where you got something, whatever it is. Right.
Right.
The amount of research, the journey, the travel, the hunch that you knew was there. So I got a site. A lady told me, she said, yeah, you can hunt my backyard, my front yard, my side yard. I don't care. I don't have to be here.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, this is a perfect place. Beautiful house built in late 1700, or sorry, it's built in 1699, almost 1700.
Right.
And she said, some guys hunted here in the 80s, but I don't think you're going to find much. I said, love a challenge. Let's go.
Yeah, let's go.
So she had a little horse pasture behind her house. And I walked in there, and it was absolutely packed full with 1920s burning debris of aluminum foil and garbage. So I said, you know what? This is horrible, and I could give up on this place, but I can come here whenever I want. So I set a 5-gallon bucket into that field, and I would take 2 hours of my day, and I would dig every signal. And I dug every signal within 2 inches.
Wow.
And I dug a lot of aluminum. I dug buckets of aluminum out of this place. And then I would take an hour of my day, if I had 3 hours to hunt or whatever time it was, and I would concentrate on what I thought were good signals. And this was with the Deus I. And sooner or later, one day came along that I set out to do my same routine, and I dug five plates there.
Wow. 5 plates?
Yeah. I dug 3 U.S. plates, a stippled back sword belt plate that I believe a Confederate soldier had that he had removed from a federal officer of some sort because he had stripped the whole front off. And then I dug a medium-sized South Carolina oval.
Wow. That's unbelievable, Matt.
Yeah. For folks who don't know, that's one of the it's the rarest South Carolina militia buckle you could dig, except for like a palmetto or, pretty tough state buckle to find.
Yeah. I would love to have a South Carolina plate, which, I've been on places where that could have happened, and it just hasn't happened. I've dug 17 South Carolina buttons off of one site. And that's probably the most Confederate buttons that I have, or South Carolina buttons. Of course, I live in South Carolina, so that makes perfect sense.
Sure. But it was interesting because, the work that I did for that to happen never would have happened if it wouldn't. I mean, and I found, I don't know, a dozen or so other Confederate buttons and coins and all the other things you'd expect to find. but the work took it took work to get there, and it took methodical thinking and understanding that you can't get to the stuff that is this deep without going through all the
Right.
stuff on top to be
Right.
able to.
Yeah, you got to go through it. So I'm gonna put this up because this is a find that I've got, and it was only 2 inches down, and it is a Spanish half real. And I don't know if you guys can see that very well with the glare on it, but this find was only 2 inches deep. So what if I'd have been detecting or looking for something that was really, really deep? Would I've gotten this signal? You also notice that there is a iron that has bonded to the piece of nail that had bonded to this Spanish half real, and I would have never gotten this dime if I was really looking for just the deep targets. So just another thing to sort of back up what you're saying, you got to dig the stuff that's really shallow, and then there you go. Let's see if I can sort of zoom in on it. You guys can see it, but notice the iron that's down there. And I would have never gotten this coin if I'd have just been looking probably for deep targets.
Yeah, and maybe you would have, right?
Yeah, maybe you would have, maybe you wouldn't.
Yeah, it's hard to say either way, but the point of the point of it is that you're more apt to find more items that you're looking for if one, you're persistent, and two, you have a plan, right?
Right.
A dream without a plan is just that, it's a dream. Once you have a plan, it becomes a goal.
Right. Exactly.
It's one of those kind of weird things. So yeah, man, it's fun, and I think that's the beauty of like learning this. And I think the cool part about modern treasure hunting or metal detecting is now we have the social aspect that we didn't have 20 years ago, where
No.
guys
No.
were hanging out. I didn't get to meet you.
Right. Yeah.
So this is way more of a social club than it ever has been, and it's a lot of fun. So
Right. Tell us about your tell us about your experience on Beyond Oak Island. What did you think about that experience, and tell us a little bit about that episode.
I probably learned more in my entire life doing that about the quote unquote reality show part of TV than I'd ever imagined. That over the last, probably, I've been doing YouTube. I don't know. I'm season 6. I call myself seasons, but I'm on
Right.
year 6 on YouTube. And I, over the years, I've had probably 10 or 15 of these folks call me and ask me to do a television show, or, hey, can you, and I always took them with a grain of salt. So
Right.
folks from Oak Island called me, and they said, hey, we want to do the spinoff Beyond Oak Island. I said, sure, whatever. You guys show up. Cool. Well, they called me like, I don't know how, like 4 months prior. They're like, hey, we're going to come show up on this day. I was like, okay,
Yeah.
sure. And they were like, no, we really are. Here's the contract. So sent me the contracts. Like, oh, well, this is real.
Right.
But the Cornwallis story that we filmed on Beyond Oak Island is something that I have worked on and off for probably the last 3 years, looking for a buried cache that I think Cornwallis would have had from
Right. Yeah.
from ransacking the colonies, basically Virginia. So it was an amazing experience. I'll tell you, and I'll tell everybody else there who's watching this in the replay. Everything that you guys saw was real.
Right.
They asked. I won't say that there weren't some prompts that were like, "Hey, maybe you could find this," and
Right.
the integrity of what we do on my channel and who I am, I just can't allow that. So,
Right. And I'm the same way. I'm not going to show anything that I think is going to of course, and I know you feel this way too, it's going to jeopardize your brand or jeopardize your reputation or whatever.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think it's bigger than that, right? It's just your
Yeah,
moral and ethical stance on life,
sure. Yes,
right? Like
exactly.
you wouldn't lie to your friends or your neighbors. Why would you lie to 300 strangers or
Right.
3
Yeah.
million strangers?
Right. Yeah.
Just wouldn't do it.
Exactly.
So, it's just what it is, and I loved it. It was super fun. I had a great time. It's the most work I have done in 5 days, out in the heat while treasure hunting, probably I will ever do in my life.
Right.
But
Well,
it
I'm
was.
being from South Carolina. Of course, I don't know if you know this, but I'm actually a history teacher. So
I
that's
didn't
why
know
you see a
that.
lot of people calling me the teach on here. But of course, I'm big into South Carolina history. And then, of course, Cornwall has played a huge role in South Carolina. Of course, you probably know that.
Yep.
And, I was very intrigued by that episode because I wanted to see if you were really going to find anything. So I loved that episode. Also, I'm good friends with Nicolina,
Yeah.
who actually was at the XP tent with me, and she and I worked together. So, that was interesting to hear her side of it too on that episode. So, I'm glad that you're on here tonight, and she's probably watching too. So,
I would
um,
imagine Nick Lena would tell you it's a lot harder what we do in the water than we make it look.
oh, I know. Look, trust me, I know. One of my best friends is Calabash Digger, who I don't know if you know Calabash or not, but he does a lot of diving, and
Mhm.
he and I talk a lot, and we're good friends, and we hunt together a good bit. And I appreciate everything you do. I actually watched one of your episodes when you were magnet fishing for some tools that have been dumped off on one of the bridges. I think that was one of your more recent ones, and y'all were magnet fishing. Yeah.
We found nothing.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean,
I watched the whole thing. I said, "I'm gonna see what they find," but I was intrigued all the
yeah.
way through. And I have done some magnet fishing, but nothing to the degree that I saw you guys do.
Yeah, and I think that's the important part of what is reality. Like I I mean, I have some videos that I feel like a lot of people should have watched, or
Yeah,
it would
yeah,
be
I feel
intriguing
the
to
same
like.
way, Matt. I feel the same way.
But on the flip side, I feel like it's a disservice to show people a highlights reel of what we
Right,
do, you know?
exactly.
Um,
Right, and that's why I try to show as much stuff as I can. I mean, I'll show me finding a pocket knife, to me just finding a regular flat button because or me just digging a piece of trash because it's not all rainbows and butterflies every time you go out and you metal detect. You know that
yep.
as
Yeah.
well as I do. You go out and you detect, and you're not always going to find something really spectacular every single time you go out. And so it's tough, especially if you're making content. And again, I try to stay true to what I'm doing, and people, I'm not going to show anything that's not real. I mean, it's exactly what you see, and I even in my videos I try to include some of the trash with the treasure, you
That's right.
know, just to
That's
let people know, hey, this isn't easy. This isn't something that you can just pick up a machine and go out and just start hunting and just start finding stuff. It's just not like that. I mean, it takes a lot of work. It takes, and you know this too. You got to find the sites. You got to get permissions. You got to do all those different things in order to make all of this work.
Um, I will say that if you're considering ever being a part of a TV show, consider the repercussions it may have for your future. We have
Yeah.
not been well received by the Commonwealth of Virginia
Mhm.
post that, and we followed within their guidelines of our permit system, and as a result, they're I would say less than thrilled about us putting ourselves out in such a manner. So it's something to think about. Um,
Yeah, I,
but
I I agree. I mean, and I've always wondered about that. With me being, again, I'm a history teacher. I actually teach high school U.S. history, and I've often wondered about, you know, how different states perceive as far as the archaeological side of it and the artifact side of it, how they actually go about, perceiving some of these things. So let me ask you this. So after you did that show, do you feel like you're more under a microscope?
I do. I do.
Okay.
And I feel that way because I've seen direct permit changes. Um, but I've got a few tricks up my sleeve. And those aren't necessarily tricks, but I got some people back in my corner that want to see Commonwealth history brought to light, and they want it shared with everyone. So
Right.
you know, I think we're all used to kind of some of the negative connotation that it comes with being
Right.
a metal detectorist or treasure hunter or somebody who just digs coins by the archaeological community.
Right. Well,
There's
and the same thing that you're experiencing, I think a lot of people are experiencing here in South Carolina. Is just that we're so perceived as being negative that we're,
Mhm.
that we're going out and robbing all of these sites of their history. But what people fail to realize is that we're saving a lot of that history, and we're showing it in our videos and on our channels and in pictures and all of those things, just to get that information out there. And I've often wondered, why can't we all work together? Why does it have to be that the archaeologists are so far superior from us that they can't ask for our help, to help them with some of this stuff? And I love going out with archaeologists and saying, hey, let me use my metal detector and help you with helping you find some of these things and document some of these things. But, I think, a lot of these archaeologists, they're not concerned with some of the things that we're actually finding. What do you
yeah,
think?
I have a friend who he works for James Madison's Montpelier, private, or I'm sorry, it's a nonprofit, and all he does is uses a GPX to survey to look for new buildings that have never been found on Montpelier.
Right.
James Madison,
Right. Yeah.
um,
James Madison,
yeah,
definitely.
American president, amazing, huge piece of American history there. And what he's able to determine using his metal detector while surveying for archaeological sites is absolutely unbelievable.
Right.
Um, so I see both sides of it, right? I
Yeah.
understand that there is a desire to preserve and protect history, and some of that protection comes from the items being left in the ground. And I do recognize that. I think
Yeah,
that
oh, I do. I recognize the same thing. We went behind I've gone behind archaeologists and have dug amazing things that they
yeah.
just left,
uh,
you know?
And I think that on the flip side is I have a good friend, John Hickok. He owns the Bull Run Winery on the First Manassas battlefield. John
Right.
has probably one of the finest privately owned for display Civil War collections I know of.
Right.
And I think about the value of what he has done over the last 5 years to bring this private collection out to the public and display it in a way that is much more personal than any institution ever could have.
Sure. And
And
that's where I'm at. I feel like, and I know you see some of the stuff behind me, but the thing is just that, if you want people to see it, somebody's got to go out there and find it.
right,
And sometimes these archaeologists are not concerned with some of the things that you see behind me,
right.
and
And,
that's where I don't know. That's where the
yeah,
lines sort of get blurred, I guess.
yeah, and I think that the part that we as folks who metal detector or search for history will always not understand is the idea to leave it in the ground. And we, while they won't understand our desire to pick it up and share it, even in developed sites, right? I hunt a lot of construction sites, and I think about the items that are going to get disturbed or destroyed in
Right.
the construction part, and
Right.
why leave that, right? So
Right. And I'm
it's
with
a
you 100%. I've got a site that I hunted, and I can show you. I mean, I've got the video. It's up on my channel, but they're going through and they're actually going through and they're leveling this site, and they're getting ready to build a house on top of it. But there's so many artifacts that are still in the ground, and they're getting ready to build right on top of this.
mm-hmm.
And I go in there and I start pulling out King George II coppers. I start pulling out, the rat tail spoons. I start pulling out, all of these different artifacts, and they're getting ready just to cover that up. But
Right.
what if I hadn't have gone in there?
Right.
So, and I know you're feeling the same way. I know you do.
I do.
Yeah.
So,
It's just a shame in some cases.
well, it's a weird part to be in, right? And I think with everything in this world, you gotta kind of sit back and look at it and go, I can understand your point of view if you can understand mine. And I think the hard part that we have as folks who love history is the
Right.
unwillingness on their side to understand our side. I think
Right.
if there was a common ground in between, we'd be all right. But I think that's probably the part of most arguments, right? We just need to
Right.
find a common
Exactly.
ground in
Yeah.
everything.
It definitely is. And I love watching your channel. And guys, too, if you haven't checked out Matt on Gone Diggin, I mean, he's got an awesome channel. He does so many different things. It's not just metal detecting, it's magnet fishing, it's it's diving, it's metal detecting. I mean, it's everything rolled up into one. And he finds some amazing things. And of course, him living in Virginia is just awesome. And so he gets to experience a lot of those things. So if you haven't checked out Matt and you don't know who Matt is, then you definitely need to go and check out his channel. I think you'll be really, really impressed. And he does a great job with the video quality on his channel. So I love watching Matt's channel, and I loved watching Matt on Gone Diggin. I mean, and on the Beyond Oak Island series too. I mean, I loved being able to see him on those shows and just showing you all the different things and things that he finds. He is an amazing metal detectorist, explorer, adventurer. He's all of those things rolled up into one, and that's what makes him unique, is that he does all these different things. So, Matt, tell me about diving in the rivers in Virginia. I mean, how is that?
Man.
I know we're scared to death to dive here in South Carolina because of the alligators.
Oh man,
guys
you
experience
have a beautiful place to dive. I love the Cooper. I don't know how far you are from the Cooper.
Yeah,
but
I'm not far at all, by the
oh
way.
man, that's my favorite place. We'll catch up in the fall then, because
Yeah, I
we
would.
make a
Hey,
Cooper trip.
I
And
don't dive, but I would love to just to go and watch. I don't like dark water. I'm just gonna be honest with you.
oh, I love it. It's like my happy place. It's it is so for anybody who's wondering, by trade or by life, I'm a husband, and I'm blessed to be a father of the crazy blonde hair girl that you guys saw earlier. But by
Yeah,
trade, I'm a fireman,
yeah, I know you're fired.
paramedic, and it's like a comfort place. It's diving in dark water. I just feel at home. It's cool. There's no cell phone. There's none of
Right,
this. You can't talk to me. I can't talk to you. You don't have any. There's no other influence on my life other than to breathe in my tanks and breathe it out. And
right,
if I happen to get lucky and find something, great. If not, it's just calm, quiet, and peaceful. Now we've had some a little hairy experiences doing that, but for the most part, that's how it is for me, and I
right.
love it. So we look for everything from these giant shark's teeth to Civil War bullets, buckles, anything that I think is cool. We've been on a shark's tooth kick here the last few days, and in turn, we found some other cool stuff. So,
Right.
but for us and much like Charleston and all of South Carolina, the
Right.
rivers were the super highways.
Oh yeah, they were. They were definitely the super highways. And of course, the majority of the things you see back here behind me, especially the bottle part, with the exception of a few. I know you can see that jug. That jug behind me, that came out of the river.
Is that
Yeah.
so they got a little face on it?
Yeah, let me.
Oh my gosh.
I'd love for you guys to see this. So this is a salt glazed jug. Can y'all see that? Can y'all see the design on that jug?
It's an ovoid jug.
Is that what it is, man?
Yeah, it's considered an ovoid jug. So,
The only thing that's wrong with it is the handles broke, Matt. That's it.
Man, so that's probably what, 1750s?
It's 1700s, easy.
Yeah, 1750s, 1780s.
Yeah.
And salt glaze, I mean, absolutely insanity.
Yeah.
I've only found pieces of ovoids.
Have you gotten one in this condition?
No. A monster ovoid jug like that is extremely rare.
This came out of a very shallow water hunting site.
What do you have back there on the other side? You have a mallet back there?
Yeah, look. I'm gonna show you a couple others too.
I think what you have back there is what I really want. It's got a little thing that says SC dispensary on it.
Oh yeah, you want to see a South Carolina dispensary?
I want one. I want to find one.
Okay, there you go. Get a load of that.
Oh, son, it's the good one too.
Oh yeah.
Oh man, look at that thing.
This came off of a land site though, Matt.
Oh, I don't care. I don't care. I dig one. I die for one. I'd pull a tooth for one. I'd love to have one.
Yeah, that's a South Carolina palmetto tree pint.
Yep. So that's a pint. So explain to folks. I'm sure you've explained that, right?
Right. Yes. This bottle was only made between 1894 and 1914, I believe. I think was the last day. But these are the early ones with the palmetto tree on it.
Yeah, that's the good one. The later ones are monogrammed. And
yeah, I've got the monogram too. I got a beautiful monogram that I'll show you too.
Folks who don't know is the dispensary bottle was during Prohibition, and South Carolina said you needed medicine, so we're going to give you some.
There's one of my monograms, but you can see how good of a shape that one's in.
Oh man, that's so cool.
Yeah, and all of these came off of land sites, not out of the water.
I'm going to get one. I'm going to find one.
Yeah, I love the South Carolina dispensary. They're some of my favorite bottles of all time. So, of course, I love South Carolina history, so it just makes it that much more for me. So, and I'm big into South Carolina history naturally. And I've got a couple of old. I'll show you guys this, which is these are old Coca-Cola bottles.
Someone said, "Don't egg you on."
Yeah,
that's a nice one, man. Oh, nice.
Now this one came from Marion, South Carolina.
Nice.
Which is actually a really rare Coca-Cola.
Nice. That's awesome.
Straight-sided is what they call those.
Yeah, straight-sided mid-script.
Straight-sided
right in the middle there. Yeah, that's cool, man. That's awesome.
Yeah, I love bottles. Bottles is what really started me on the artifact hunting craze. Was bottles, and then I got into all the other stuff, and then I became a huge metal detectorist. And I
think that's how it goes, right? I think that everybody finds something that they like, and then metal detecting is either just a fantastic addition, or it was like you started metal detecting and then you added something else on.
Yes, I mean that's exactly what happened with me. I started off as a bottle hunter. I actually started with my dad. My dad was a bottle hunter, and most of the bottles that I just showed you are bottles that he and I found together. And then it turned into I wanted to become a metal detectorist. I wanted to actually, when I went off to school, I wanted to become an archaeologist. And of course, I realized that there was a lot of science and math, and I wasn't that great in science and math, so I became a metal detectorist.
Yeah, that's amazing. So I'll ask two questions of you. So Alabama Digger asked, have you found a slave tag?
No, I have not found a slave tag.
Have you been with
I've
anyone
been to
who's found
places
one?
where I could have dug one, and here where I live, I'm close enough to Charleston to where I could dig one, but
Sure.
I have yet to find one. And there have been some that have been dug in my area.
So my second question is, I had two relatives in the 26th Virginia. One was in the 9th Virginia Militia, and he was initially mustered as a part of that. But the 26th Virginia made it all the way to Charleston to defend the harbor. Have you found a Virginia button in South Carolina?
I have not. I got a North Carolina Hillsborough Academy button, and I've got
Oh, that's a tough one.
but wait a minute. I have a VMI button from South Carolina,
A VMI cadet.
a VMI cadet button.
What's the back mark? R.W. Robinson in the ribbon.
I think it is.
Yeah. Well, that would make sense then.
Well, I've got one. I'm not going to pull it out because I'd have to take it all the way off the case. But anyway, yes, I have a VMI button, and I actually dug it not far from my house.
Wow, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
I don't have a period VMI button.
Yeah, VMI button. I mean, and it was so freaking unbelievable because every button that had been dug off this side had been South Carolina, and then all of a sudden, here comes this VMI button.
My first Confederate button I found was South Carolina button.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was a late war site, and again, it's one of the cool things about treasure hunting that I hope that I can pass along to my daughter. You know, for folks who watch my channel or see my channel, I didn't start my channel for anybody ever to watch it, and I think that's kind of whoever does metal detecting videos on YouTube. I wouldn't recommend, if you're getting into the hobby, to make videos for people to watch.
Right.
Do it on everything but metal detecting. You know, it's just a very crowded space with a lot of folks.
Oh yeah, it definitely is.
A lot of great folks, but I didn't do it to become like, and I'm not going to say I'm famous or anything like that, but I did it to document. I worked in a relic shop for a little bit, and I had these old guys who come in and they tell me all these fun stories of these amazing days, of these things they found and how they found them and who they found them with. And I thought to myself, I was like, man, I hope that I get old enough one day that I can't remember of any of the things that I did.
Right.
When I'm sitting in a nursing home, I'm gonna have a little Gone Diggin sticker on me and says, turn this on every day. And I get to sit down and watch some of the things I used to do with the people I hung out and really enjoyed. And you know, I found my South Carolina button with my dad. First Confederate button I ever found in my life.
Wow.
It was one of the very first, second or third times I'd ever been metal detecting.
I've got so many South Carolina buttons, and I actually discovered a camp that had been lost to time for a very, very long time. And what was so funny is the only reason why I made the connection with the camp was because my relatives had actually gone through this camp.
Oh, wow.
You know, so my question is that did any of these buttons actually come off of some of my relatives' family? You know, did it come off of my family?
Yeah. That's a cool part. You never know, but you like to hope so, right?
Yeah, right. I mean, and that's the kind of stuff that drives me. And you know, and you and I just talked about it, the history. You and I love the history of it, and we get involved into the history of it, and we want to know more about those places. And I dug my first block I infantry Confederate button just this past year.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and I was just in heaven because I never dug a block I. I had all these South Carolina buttons, but I never had anything else other than those South Carolina buttons. And then all of a sudden, here comes this block I, and I was just thrilled to death about that block I. And for some people, that would be nothing, but to me, it was everything.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely.
So, and I know you probably dug multiple block I buttons.
Yeah, so where I live is kind of an interesting place. We find a lot of letter buttons, typically A's, I's, and C's.
Yeah, and
The
see, and I
button,
would love. I mean, I've seen some A's here in this area. I've got an artillery with the artillery and the shield. A buddy of mine dug a Manchester A, and then we've
Mhm.
also gotten a cavalry button, the script cavalry button.
Oh, script C, nice.
Yeah, which is really, really nice. But you rarely see those types of buttons in this area. So, those to me are amazing buttons.
Yeah, so it's interesting. We find them a lot related to the city. You know, by that time in the war, they had run through the blockade and very
Right. Exactly.
yeah, very, very prevalent. You had a lot of ladies who lived within the city who were making uniforms for the Confederacy. Um, it's pretty typical. What is not typical is the state seal buttons.
Right.
I found in South Carolina, I have a number of Virginias. Typically, the Virginias I find are militia buttons, pre
Right.
1850 one piece Virginias, the early buttons.
So do you have a lot of VMI buttons?
No, I only have one. I only have one
Really?
one VMI. Yeah, and I don't believe it to be period. I actually believe it to be post war.
Right.
I yeah, yeah. Michael Cooley said he has a couple blockades from
Right.
Petersburg.
That's crazy.
Pretty typical. A's, I's, and C's. The white whale or the button I felt like I should have found the most
Right.
is a CSA button,
Right.
either solid cast or two piece.
Do you
I
have a CSA button?
I do not.
Wow. I
I
do not
have
have it. I don't have one either.
I have seen like in excess of 10 dug in front of me.
Wow.
So my buddy Jeff, brand new to metal detecting, sold him a metal detector. He called me. He said, "Hey, I got this really cruddy button." He brings it over, clean it up, and it's solid cast CSA. Goes back to the site and he digs three more of those buttons from the code.
Yeah.
And never dug a Confederate button. I saw 5 dug out of the site in front of me. Now I was digging Confederate buttons, but I just didn't dig a CSA button.
Right. Right.
In front of me at in the city. I've seen them here or there in Confederate camps. They're not a common button, but it's they're there, and I just don't feel like I should have found one.
Yeah. I get it. I get it.
Or maybe I just put too much pressure on myself for the things I should find.
Yeah. Hang on one second, Matt. I'm gonna take a pause for just a second, and then I'll be right back. But guys, ask Matt some questions while I've got to step out the room for just a minute. I'll be right back.
Surfside Dan said I have a nice CSA 2-piece. Never found a 2-piece CSA. I would love to find a CS tongue and wreath, but never found one of those. Yeah, solid cast one day. Let's see. Alabama Digger asked, how long does it take to learn how to dive and how expensive is it to get into it? So typically you can learn how to dive in about 2 weeks. The courses, depending on where you live, cost about $600 to $800. The gear, the sky's the limit as to how you spend your money on gear. You can do it as little as a few $100s if you buy it used and have it serviced at a reputable dealer, or you can spend thousands of dollars on gear. So that's really up to you. It's amazing. If you're going to go out and dive and look for fossils or look for treasure, be sure to know your local laws. I'll tell you that. So do I use LiDAR? Surfside Dan said. And I do use LiDAR. In fact, I use an application called CalTopo. And I don't know. Have you ever used CalTopo?
No, I have never used, but I have used LiDAR. In fact, Surfside Dan and I have actually sort of conspired with LiDAR recently.
Yeah.
But I'm learning LiDAR. And, but you know, the thing is though, with LiDAR, especially in this area, is that you don't get the outline that you would probably get up north because of the cellar holes.
Yeah, you'd be surprised. It's an application. It's free. It was made by a California fireman, and it's called CALTOPO.
Okay.
And what I can do is I can make a video, throw it on my channel, and tell you how to set it up. But
Oh,
you can
wow.
see
I know people would love to see that, Matt.
everything from earthworks to rectangle impressions to there's a different different things you can see on this that you'll never be able to see.
Right.
And it is really, really awesome.
Right.
But check it out. It's super. I mean, like I said, it's free and it's called CalTopo. There you go. That's kind of a quick local area for me, but you can see interstates on it. You can zoom in. Is it going to pull up? There you go. Yeah. So you can see a ton of cool things, really easy to use, and it's right on your phone.
Wow.
The other thing Michael Cooley asked, wanted to address is how many DIV events I've been to. I started digging in Virginia 36. I missed one, and I've been to every single one since DIV 54. So like 15 events maybe. So yeah, it's if anybody's interested in digging in Virginia's organized metal detecting in Culpeper County, Virginia, and it's typically battlefield or campsite. What I prefer is the campsites, obviously, because I love digging pits. But yeah,
Right.
Yeah, that's something you guys got to get into, man. There's ought to be some cool colonial period pits around you guys.
Yeah, there are. You know, here's the problem with our area. And my area in South Carolina, the problem is that Sherman burned all of our maps.
Yeah.
So most of the maps for this area from the early 1800s all the way up to the 1860s have been destroyed.
Yeah.
So we have pretty much nothing other than the Mills Atlas, which is highly unreliable. So, you know, a lot of what I do is basically off of sight and research. I mean, it's basically reading and research, and not a lot of maps because the maps have been completely destroyed. So you gotta sort of go with your gut. You got to sort of know where you're looking at, and then go from there. Whereas in North Carolina and Virginia, it seems like there's tons of stuff that you can actually look at to help you find some of those places.
The county I live in has one box of records that fell off the wagon prior to it being burned, all the records being burned.
Right.
The Battle of Hanover Courthouse. So there's one 1859 map of my county, but that's it. There's nothing prior to that.
Right.
So you'll pull up like GIS stuff of houses that you're like, that house from 1700s,
right?
Say built in 1979.
Right. Yeah. I do the same thing. That's how I locate a lot of mine. I have to sort of go back and sort of look and just trace as far back as I can to sort of figure out where those house sites were, and I think I can get all the way back to the early 1900s.
Yeah.
But the period before that, it's pretty rough. It's pretty rough in this area.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right. So, of course, Surfside Dan said, Brian, we will find them with the GPR. Surfside Dan has a GPR, so he and I have sort of been going around to some of my sites and scanning over them with the GPR. Have you ever used GPR, Matt?
Very little. I use a little bit in Culpeper. It's very difficult in Culpeper. I've seen it used in battlefield sites around. But
Right.
what I found that the best thing to do to find a pit is take a metal detector and dig the deepest iron you can find.
Right. Yeah.
And you dig the deep iron, you're gonna find a pit eventually. It's recognition of the fact that you are actually in a pit, whether that's a colonial period mitten or Civil War trash pit or a 1900s bottle dump. That's the part you just have to be able to recognize it.
So Matt, I have a like a recruitment, I won't say recruitment center, but sort of like a training center that all of these Confederate soldiers went through before they were actually sent out to Charleston
Yep.
and Georgetown and so on.
Muster site.
But I've never actually tried to find a pit there.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think GPR would help me there?
I think GPR would help you for sure. You have to remember there's a couple of things. I got this cool book here. I'll show it to you guys.
Yeah, show it.
So there's this book. It's called Hudson History. And this is more geared towards the late war period. And Hudson History is all of the surgeon or the sanitation commission's orders for how a site was laid out, or a million different things. It's 239 questions that the sanitation commission would ask. But I think that what you're going to look for is if you had to set up a place to use the restroom to throw your trash, where would you do it? Right. And then follow your nose that way, so to speak.
Right. Well, this site I think is a very, very good site. Of course, this is a site I dug the majority of my South Carolina buttons from because it was a volunteer station or training camp for everyone that was being shipped off to Charleston or wherever. And they came from like 3 or 4 counties here in South Carolina. And so I'm thinking there's got to be a trash pit in here.
Yeah, there's got to be. I got to throw out a quick shout out to my buddy Scott from the Metal
Yeah.
channel.
Scott is a good buddy of mine too as well. And he's actually been on the live stream with us. Yeah, I love Scott. Scott's awesome. He does a great job. His videos are awesome. He does a good job of teaching and explaining, especially some of the different metal detectors. So glad to have Scott on here. I'm going to shout out to Southern Relics, which he's just Southern Relics, not Southern Relics, Southern Relic Adventures like I am, but he's up in the upstate of South Carolina. So we're glad to have him in here tonight. So we've got a great audience. And most of our audience is XP Deus II users. So Matt, tell us what's the program that you really love to use when you're going out looking for relics with the XP Deus II?
If I'm looking for relics and I am looking in a brand new place, I probably will use my Deep version 2 based off the general program, basically a wide open program. I'm going to put that right next to a medium program, a little bit toned down, still based off the general program, maybe running that stabilizer down to about 1 or 0. And then my other program I'm going to use is either sonar or some sort of faster recovery program based on if I get into some iron. So that's kind of how I run my machine almost all the time. And typically, if I'm just going to go out and look for a site, I'm going to run in medium. Not worry about those super deep targets, but cover some ground.
And I usually run, there are 3 programs that were always my go-to programs. It was general, fast, and deep high conductor. Those are my 3, probably my favorites of the XP Deus II. Now, you can set these programs up to however you want them in some of these sites, and those sites can produce, however you set them up. I would always encourage people to run one program, run it one way first and then go back and then try something else. And then just keep going back to that site until you've exhausted all of the different settings and all the different programs, because you just never know. I mean, because every program and every setting that you adjust can change the way that metal detector performs. And with the XP Deus II, naturally, that's what happens.
That's right.
Definitely. So, I've gone back with the mono frequency. I've gone back with deep high conductor. I've gone back with general. I've gone back with fast. And I've hunted all of those sites a different way. And you brought up a great point earlier when you were talking about, hunting the different layers, whether it be the shallow layer, the mid layer, and then the deep layer. And I think all of those programs actually sort of meet those requirements that you said earlier.
Yep. Yeah, and that's kind of a big thing of how I run it. So, and I'll intermix as I go through a site based off of what the site's telling me, how much iron there is. If it's not a lot of iron, I'll back it off and run a deep target program, or I'll run a medium depth. Just really depends on the site and how we're moving through it, and what I think is there or what I don't think is there.
Right. Right. And Detector Mode says 1.1 update out now. Yes, 1.1 is out, guys. And I was just talking about this with Matt earlier. The 1.1 update, just to sort of fill you guys in, 0.71 filters are applied to all programs except for sensitive full tones. And I'm telling you, I believe, honestly, for you guys that are still here, and I know a lot of you have tried out sensitive full tones and the 1.1, I think it's going to be one of the best relic hunting programs that you're going to find, because you can adjust it. You can use all of those great features, and it really, really, really works well. Now, you're going to have to run the discrimination down maybe a little bit lower than what you're normally used to, but it's a killer in iron. So try out sensitive full tones if you haven't already. And Matt, I don't know, like I said, when you do update, you might want to try out sensitive full tones as well. But sensitive full tones is running with the 1.0 filters, and it really performs well. Fast, if you're going to use fast, I would strongly suggest using pitch and the high square audio. Try those things out. I think you're going to really, really, really like the way that performs as well. And there's a lot of videos out. I know Sharpshooter's been putting out videos with these things on it. And you can go check out his channel too. And you can see some of those things. But those are some of my recommendations for the new update. If you haven't already tried it, I am going to be updating. I have not updated as of yet, but I am going to be updating and hopefully using that all of this next week and sort of bringing in some video content with that. And I see a lot of comments. Metal Detecting with the CZ Kid says, I'm killing it. I'm liking version 1.1. Andrew Paul says he finally caught the live show. The new deep high conductor, holy moly, is good. But I'm telling you, hey guys, try sensitive full tones. I think you're going to love it. And
you know what I'm super into, and this is from my E-Track days, is
right.
I'm a huge two-tone Ferris proponent.
Yeah,
if you were
need to try it. I mean, you need to try the two tones too, because
if you're in a heavy iron site and you were looking for high conductors or anything else, and I mean, I'm talking blanket iron, a house fell down, and you're hunting in that, and two tones is where it's at.
Well, you can also, Matt, I don't know how much you do this or not, but you can also apply some notch to some of these programs with this new update, and you can see some really, really good results too. And Michael is saying, hey, Matt, do you ever watch T and Sharpshooter's channel? Lots of good info. Do you ever watch Sharpshooter?
Honestly, I'm not as good at watching channels as I should because I'm so focused on making things.
Dude, I totally understand. It's
You
hard for
know,
me to watch everybody. And I know, and I love watching your channel, and I love watching, there's so many other people out there. Calabash, of course, naturally, which is one of my good friends, but um, it's hard to watch everybody, really.
yeah. Yeah, it's I started with a few friends and stuff like that, and I I'd like to say I watch more. I can't. If I'm not building my website or working on something that's going to advance what I do, I kind of let some of the noise I won't say it's noise, it's not right,
Yeah,
not the right term, but I kind of
right.
let some of the extra kind of go to the side and focus on
Look,
where I'm
I
going.
totally get it because you can only do so much, and of course, you and I are content creators, and we're out making content too, as well as, and sometimes it's hard to watch some of it. And every now and then I'll tune in. There are certain people that I will watch, but it's hard. It's hard when you got so many things to pick from, and there's a lot of good channels out there though, and um, I try to watch a select few, but the ones that I watch, I feel like I get the most out of, as well as what I'm doing too. And I know you feel the same way,
That's right. So,
right?
well, I have to tell you, it's been an absolute pleasure being on this evening. I
Oh
do
yeah,
have a 4-year-old that needs to go to night time.
oh yeah. Well, look, I totally get it. I totally get it.
And hold on, I think we can make one quick appearance if you guys are interested.
Yeah, bring her on.
Adeline, come here. Little feet are coming. Be prepared. So yeah, I mean, this has been a fantastic experience. As always, a pleasure being here. You want to come in and say
Matt,
night
we
night, everyone?
appreciate you taking your time out of your Friday night. I know Friday night can sometimes be a little bit tough for people, and I appreciate you taking your time tonight to be on with us. Matt's got a great channel, guys, and go check his channel out. Subscribe to it. Give him a like, give him a follow. I know he would greatly appreciate that. Matt is an awesome individual, and he does so much for the detecting community, and he's a fireman too, so he does a lot of extra service for each and every one of us, and we appreciate Matt so much. If you haven't watched the episode with him on Beyond Oak Island, go check that out with him trying to find Cornwallis's lost treasure. So go check that out. You can check it on replay, I believe. Isn't that right, Matt?
Yeah, it's on Amazon or anywhere you'd find it.
Right.
But no, thank you. Again, we're gonna catch up one day in the field, and we're gonna dig some holes together.
Yeah, dude, I would love to. I would love to. And if you're ever down in South Carolina, you always got an open invitation to come and hunt with me. Definitely, for sure.
I'd love to. We'll make that happen for
Oh
sure.
yeah.
So, I appreciate each and everybody who stopped in, left a comment, said hello. Thank you guys. Thank you again. Thank you for having me. If you guys ever want to reach out to me, I'm on the internet and all the places that you would find someone on the internet,
Yeah.
or just Google search Gone Diggin and it'll come up. We do actually have a website now, which is pretty cool, that we've been trying to post some informational content about either our gear or just more fun stories to read, blog kind of content, but nothing really heavy, but just fun. So, yeah, thanks for having me, man. It's
Okay,
been,
Matt. Thank you so much. I'm going to stay on for just a few more minutes for anybody we're going to talk a little bit more about the update, and Matt is going to check out of here, but we appreciate you so much, Matt. Thanks for everything that you do. And go give Matt a like, a follow, subscribe on all of his different platforms, because he's on all of them, and he is an awesome guy, and I love watching his channel, and he is amazing. So
Bye-bye.
definitely go check him out if you haven't
Can you wave and
already.
say bye-bye?
Bye-bye.
All right.
Have
Bye-bye.
a great evening.
See you later. All right, guys. So Matt was so gracious to come on tonight and be with us. Thank you, Michael, for the super sticker. I really appreciate it. Thank you, Stink Ass Cat, who actually donated before the stream even started. So thank you, Stink Ass Cat. Thank you to Matt for being on tonight. Matt is an awesome metal detectorist, which you guys can tell. He just knows a lot of stuff. And again, Matt is awesome. So we're going to continue just for a few more minutes. It is a little bit after now. We're going to try to go for a few more minutes and just talk a little bit about the update. I want to hear everybody's thoughts on 1.1 update real quick before we sign off of here. And we're going to talk a little bit about the update. If you got a question, I'll try to answer it. If I don't know it, then Sharpshooter's on here, Michael Coley's on here. All of those guys know a lot of information about this new update. So stick around. We're going to talk a little bit more. We're going to try to go till about 9. It's 9:10. We're going to try to go to about 9:20. So somewhere around that range. So Diggin Daryl says, how do you remove the Ferris display with the new update? And I have not, Diggin Daryl, I'm going to be honest, I have not updated my machine yet. Of course, you guys know I'm a school teacher and it's exam week this week and next week. So I have not updated, but Sharpshooter, who is on here, and he might be able to tell you a little bit too. So I have not messed with the Ferris display or any of the, I'm assuming you're talking about the FTID, I think is what it's called. Detector Mo says he's going to update tomorrow. Michael Coley says, I'm liking sensitive full tone so far. It looks very promising. And Michael and I sort of worked on this program together, and we're liking sensitive full tones. We did find out that you need to run the discrimination down really low. I think Michael was saying around 4.2 and 4.3 if you're going to use sensitive full tones. There's been a lot of video content that's been out there about the this new update, and what we've seen so far has looked really, really good. Now, guys, I have not used it myself personally, so I'm just going on what I've seen on video. So don't hold me to it, but it does look good. All they've done is they just basically reapplied 0.71 filters to everything but the sensitive full tones program. So if that's what you're using, then you definitely try those other programs out, test them out. Fast looks really, really good from what I've seen. I saw a couple of tests using Fast. I do like pitch in Fast, and I do like high square tones in Fast. So check those out. I think those things look really, really good. Mental Metals just says he just finished his first hunt and he loves it. New coin setup is coming. So Mental Metal will have some information and some content coming. Check Mental Metal out. He's one of my good buddies, and he does a fantastic job. Alabama Digger says it is in the menu where you update the audio, etc. Is, I believe, I might have missed the first part of that question. What's the conclusion on the new update and the patch, good or bad? A lot of people seem to be liking it. I think the 0.71 sort of keeps them familiar with it. Who knows? XP might come out with another update. But at this point, I like the 0.71 filters applied to the 1.0 update, and we get the 1.10 update. So I think it's going to be pretty good so far for what I've seen. But I have not tested it yet, guys, so don't hold me to this. I'm just saying this is just what I've been seeing, the early results. Metal Detecting with the CZ Kid says, hey, I'm running a disc at 4.4 and 4.5. Yes, and that's exactly what Michael Coley and I have seen. 4.2, 4.3 on sensitive full tones seems to work really, really good. Metal Detecting with the CZ Kid. So definitely try that out. Norman, anyone else have an enormous amount of TID 99 on version 1.10? And I do not know that, Norman. And I appreciate you. I know you just subscribed to my Facebook account. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Maybe somebody can attest to that. Again, I have not used 1.1 yet. So again, maybe somebody can help me with that question. Metal Detector since a kid, I'm very happy to have full tones back in the toolbox. Yes, definitely. Surfside Dan says, I updated my WS6, but needed the biggest magnifier I could find on the screen. So there you go. So we can do big numbers, Surfside Dan. Go do it. TN Sharpshooter says, I'm not seeing any yet, Norman. Detector Mode says it's going to be raining tomorrow. It is. It's supposed to pour down rain for the next 2 days here in South Carolina. So, yeah, hopefully we'll get some of that stuff. Mental Metal says, thanks, my friend. Much respect. I appreciate you, Mental Metal. And Mental Metal hopefully will be back on with us real soon. He's one of my good friends and love having him on the show. So hopefully he will make an appearance real soon. So Mental Metal. Yes. Turning off. Yes, you can turn off that iron TID. You can go and do that. The FE TID, you can definitely turn it off. I think by default it turns on. So if you want to turn it off, you can. Andrew Paul says also using the IM6 or the MI6 in headphones seems very loud versus the normal volume of the detector in 1.1 and 1. I have not seen that, Andrew, but that could be the case. Has anybody else seen that with the headphones? Somebody let me know. Norman says, I was hunting a 1930s farmhouse yesterday. Today I had to notch out the 99. What? So, Norman, I don't think you should have to notch out the 99. So, we'll see. Somebody maybe can leave a comment with that, but I don't think you would have to notch out that high. I can't decide on either 7.1 or 1.1. I'm hunting all day in iron tomorrow in a good spot. And 1.0 was unhuntable there from falses. Please help me. I think you're going to see a big difference in 1.1 versus 1.0 as far as the falsing issue. I'm not saying you're going to get rid of the falsing because you're still – because remember, guys, at 0.71, we were still getting some falsing on some of those nails at 87 and 88. But I don't think you're going to see the amount of falsing that you saw with 1.0 T-Birds Diggin Daff. I think that's your name, so I'm trying to say it. Michael Coley says, could be big iron. Haven't really seen the 98, 99 reading. TID is off in option settings. Yes, you can definitely go and change that. Mental Metal, yes, let's do it. Let's do it real soon. Mental Metal, we will try to have you on very, very soon because I think people would love to hear your input as well. Sharpshooter says, using 14 kilohertz band on some high conductors, one can see 99, $half, etc. So Sharpshooter is chiming in, telling you, letting you know that that is happening. Carson Chris says 1.1 in sensitive full tones is fantastic. And Carson Chris, that's what Michael Coley and I have seen. We tested that out, and we found out that running that sensitive full tones at about 4.2 and 4.3, I think that's what we said, Michael, is going to, it seems like it's going to work very, very well. So again, check that out. I think that will help. If you can possibly run those discrimination settings a little bit higher, you can try it. But it seems like 4.2, 4.3 seems to be the sweet spot as far as that goes. Bobby Shore says yes to Mental Metal. Yes, I'd love to have Mental Metal back on. Mental Metal is definitely a very, very knowledgeable guy, and he loves coming on here with us. So we're excited if he comes back on. Again, check out TN Sharpshooter's channel for the latest tests and settings on the 1.1 update. He's got a lot of great information on there. Again, guys, I have not updated yet. I'm in exam week this week, unfortunately. So I haven't really been able to get out and test 1.1 yet. But Sharpshooter has. So if you want to know a little bit more about 1.1, go check out Sharpshooter. He can definitely help you out and show you some of the things that he's seen with 1.1. Hopefully that helps someone with that. Any other questions? I know we got 36 on here. And again, hopefully you enjoyed having Matt on here tonight. We're trying to go till 9:20, and it is almost 9:19, so we're getting close. I might stay on to 9:30. So Sharpshooter says that might be talking more about running lower discs using sensitive full tones. Yes, and I think that's what we've seen, Sharpshooter 4.2, 4.3 in sensitive full tones. Remember that is the only program that is still set to the 1.0 filters, I believe. So if you are using sensitive full tones, then you might want to lower the discrimination down as well. Mental Metal says he's signing off. Thank you, Mental Metal, for being here. Appreciate you, buddy. And hopefully we'll have you on here real soon. So look forward to having you. Yeah, Bobby Short says Sharpshooter is my go-to. Love his detecting talk of the. And you know what? I keep telling him that. I love his detecting talk of the day. That is the one thing that I go to. He does a great job. So appreciate Sharpshooter. Diving hits deep. Yes. If you're a beach hunter and you want to try to hit really, really deep, run the diving program. It's the most stable and it is the deepest. Greeny Meanie says it is sensitive full tones, wasn't changed. What makes it better? It's just running with different filters. I can't tell you what they've actually done to it to make it better, but I can tell you that it does perform slightly better than some of the other programs. So sensitive full tones and iron, it really seems to be working very, very well. Greeny Meanie, try it out, and I think you'll like it. Michael Coley says, got my Deus II stands from Dirt Devil Detecting and love them. And I'm going to show that in just a few minutes, Michael. So thanks for reminding me. Chris says, as always, great show tonight, Brian. I appreciate that, Chris. You're a great supporter, and thank you again. T-Bird says, thanks, guys. Oh, I'm definitely subbed to 10 Sharpshooter. Still not convinced yet. And look, if you don't want to switch over to 1.1 and you want to stay with 0.71, guys, there's nothing wrong with that. There really isn't. Let the dust settle. Let everybody else figure out what's going on with 1.1. If you want to be a little bit hesitant, I totally get it. So definitely, if you need to do that, then that's fine. Relic Jedi says, make sure to let people know next week's live is on Thursday. Thank you, Relic Jedi. I appreciate it. We've got a great show next week. We're going to have Diggin Dixie. For you guys that know who Diggin Dixie is, she's going to be on here with us. A very, very nice lady. And she's going to be sharing some of her tips and tricks and some of the things that she's been doing with her metal detector. And on Thursday night at 7:30, we're not going to be able to go Friday. Of course, you guys know I'm a teacher, and that is my graduation night. So I'm not going to be able to be on here on Friday night. So again, Diggin Dixie next Thursday night, 7:30. Be here. Make sure you check that out. It's going to be a great show with Diggin Dixie. And she's an awesome metal detectorist. Carson Chris says silencer on sensitive full tones was slightly adjusted. Right. And that's the whole thing. It's more similar to the version 1 with those filters. And everything else is supposedly on 0.71. I think I'm right on that. Sharpshooter can correct me if I'm not. I'm going to my worst site tomorrow. If I still have a hair by tomorrow, and I'll get one point. Alabama Digger, I hope you have great success. I'm looking forward to seeing what you find. Please let me know. Really, honestly, I want to know what you find, what you think, and so on. That's the way all of us learn. That's what this channel is all about, is learning and checking out all the new features and learning about this new program. Greeny Meanie says school's out, hunting time. I'm not. No, I've still got another week greeting meeting. I hate to say that, but I'd love to go hunt, but hopefully it'll be really, really soon. And I can get you guys some content out there. T-Birds digging daff. I may update and take my laptop in my backpack because I like to report. Definitely T-Birds digging daff. Let me know, buddy, because I want to know what you guys are seeing. That's what this channel is all about. Guys, if you like 0.71, then you really like 1.1. It has the same filters and base programs with a lot of added features that are great. Right. So if you're using 0.71 and you update to 1.1, then basically all you're doing is you're just getting the added features. Nothing else is going to change as far as the filters, the way that a lot of those programs perform. It's just you're just getting all those added features. So why not update to 1.1? So definitely. Thank you, Alabama Digger. I look forward to seeing your reports from the field because, again, this is the way we all learn. It's what you guys tell me. And when you guys tell me these things, then that helps me learn, and that helps everyone else on here learn as well. So Carson Chris says, Alabama Digger, I pull coins in places I've been over 20 or 30 times. 1.1 is great. Thank you, Carson Chris. So Carson Chris is already giving it a stamp of approval. Thank you, Carson Chris. I do believe that with the 0.71 filters on there, that 1.1 is going to be really, really, really good. And Alabama Digger says, thanks, man. I'll get it done. Yes, definitely. Guys, keep me posted because these things only help with everyone else and learning this program and learning what it's about and learning this update. So definitely keep me posted on what you guys are seeing. So there's a couple of things I wanted to show you guys. There's Phoebe Samba team, Instagram, YouTube. Just wanted to show you guys a couple of things. And I'm going to put this up because I've had a lot of questions about these things. So the first thing I'm going to show you is the new stands. So what you see here is one of the new stands, which if you guys, can you guys see that? This is a stand for your XP Deus II metal detector. You know how sometimes you put that metal detector down and I don't know, put that up. You put that metal detector down and it doesn't sit straight on the ground. Well, now with this stand, you can actually do that. And I have actually put up Dirt Devil detecting. I don't know if he's on here, but here's the stand on my XP Deus machine. And this really, really, really helps, guys. And these things are super sturdy. So go check him out. If you would like a stand for your XP Deus II, then definitely check him out. Dirt Devil Detecting at gmail.com. But these stands are wonderful. Mental Metal has these things on his channel as well. But these things are awesome. So if you're looking for a good stand, Michael Coley can attest to these stands too as being something that are really beneficial. The other thing that I wanted to show you guys is what's on here, and that is the arm cuff cover. So if you're interested in this arm cuff cover, which has the Deus II insignia on the side, you can get these to slide over. You guys know, especially you guys in the South, how you sweat and your arm sort of slides down in there. Now you got these arm cuff covers. It really makes these makes the arm cuff very, very comfortable. But again, arm cuff covers, buckhaskins at yahoo.com. You can go check him out, and he can get you one of these arm cuff covers. Just tell him that you saw this on Southern Relic Adventures live stream, and he will get you one of these things out in a hurry. And it's got the new version has the slits in it, so you can put your arm strap through it to tighten it down. But really, really nice accessory for the XP Deus II. And I really like the way this looks. This really looks cool. So yes, and Michael Coley will tell you that the stands are great, and you guys can see the stands here too. And I'll put those back up one more time here. If you didn't get a chance to get a picture of it, but the stands, again, Dirt Devil Detecting, and the arm cuff cover, buckhaskins at yahoo.com, and you can get the arm cuff cover. And just tell them that you saw this on Southern Relic Adventures channel. But both of these things are super, super nice, and they're great accessories for your XP Deus II in case you're interested. And then the last thing I'm going to show you guys is I've actually got a new lanyard for the pinpointer. This is fully nylon, sort of bungee type, but very, very sturdy. And I'm going to put that up too. This is from Joshua Sipes. And I don't know if he has red, but I've got blue here. But again, long cord, the plastic tends to wear out and break eventually. And this tends to hold up a little better. So if you're interested in the lanyard, check out Joshua Sipes at gmail.com if you're interested in a lanyard for your XP pinpointer. And there you go. You guys can see that on my machine, on my setup as well. So again, I wanted to point out all of those guys because those guys have been nice enough to send me those things, and I've been using those things, and they work extremely well. So somebody said, does he make a stand? Yes, the WS6 Master, the stand that I showed you, this one will fit on your shaft. So yeah, you can definitely get that stand for your shaft. Oh, hi, Fred. And you can do that. So it definitely can help. Carson Chris says, I need a bigger handle. My hand pushes the remote off. They do make, I don't know about that. That's a good one, Carson Chris. I don't have that problem. There might be some aftermarket. I have not seen anything that might could help you with that, but there could be something. Check around. I wish I had something to tell you, but I don't, unfortunately. Michael Coley again says the stands are great, and arm cuff cover too, which I just showed you. Carson Chris says the Detecting Doodads makes a lot to keep the remote from popping off. And yeah, I know you guys just saw this, but this is a Detecting Doodads locking mechanism. I've actually taken mine off, but there's a little screw that goes in the front that actually locks it down and keeps it from popping off. And then I also have a cover. My cover actually came from eBay, so I don't have anybody that's selling the covers. But if you are interested in a cover, you can just go on eBay. There's plenty of those out there to help you. And then the final thing here I wanted to show you guys is the WSA headphones. Guys, I know it's getting hot for this summer. I would strongly suggest getting a pair of backphones if you're using the WSA 2 XLs. These are just the WSAs. Very lightweight, very comfortable, great quality sound. If you don't already have a pair of WSAs, then check out my Amazon store. I've got tons of things on there, and everything that I use is on my Amazon store, and I will post the link in my description on this video. And the WSA 2 headphones are great, especially for you guys hunting the beach and for warmer weather. You're going to love them. And again, you can take this puck off. You can get the horseshoe audio adapter with it, and you can adjust and use whatever types of headphones you want, which is awesome, an awesome feature that you don't get with many other metal detectors. Yeah, John Brantley says he likes the padded cuff cover. Right. And again, go order that, because I'm telling you, it is very, very comfortable. And especially in the summer when your arms are real sweaty, at least it absorbs some of that sweat. You might have to take it off every now and then and wash it, but it does feel very, very comfortable. So definitely check out that. My Amazon store. Yes, I have an Amazon store. It will be in the description of this video after this video is over with. So if you want to order products, whether it be the XP Deus II, the WS6 Master, the pinpointer, the cameras, shovel, anything that I use that you see me using on my channel, it's all on that Amazon store, with the exception of the arm cuff and some of these things that I just showed you. But you can order all of those things off of my Amazon store affiliate link. Of course, I do get paid some commission on some of those things. So again, just putting that out there. But if you are interested in those things you want to order off the Amazon store, I will put that link in the description of this video after this video is over with. So again, that should help someone. All right. Any other questions? I know we've been on here for an hour and 50 minutes, almost 2 hours. Gosh, that's a long time. So are there any questions about anything? I'll try to answer anything I can. The 1.1 update, I do believe that it's going to be good. I have not used it yet. I'm being totally honest about it. But I do believe what they've done is exactly what needed to be done. They put the 0.71 filters in there, and I think those are going to be things that are going to help all of us. And I think it's going to be good. Yes, thank you, Wisco Detect. I appreciate that so much. But I will have the Amazon, all the stuff on my Amazon store will be listed in the description after this video is over with. If there's something that you want to use that I'm using, then it's there. And I did put up some of the things and contact information for some of these other things that I showed you here at the end. Andrew Paul says, thank you. Have a great night. Thank you. Hopefully you guys enjoyed having Gone Digging on here tonight. I appreciate all the donations, Michael and Stink Ass Cat. Thank you guys so much. All of those donations go directly back into the channel. We try to, bring y'all all of the greatest stuff as far as metal detecting stuff, all the stuff from XP. It goes straight back into travel, cameras, video stuff, any of the stuff that I use in my channel. All of that money definitely goes back. So I appreciate it so much. Chris says, good night, everyone. Andrew Paul says, have a great night. Any other questions before we sign off? We're getting ready to sign off. It's 1:52. We've been on here for 2 hours. Wow. I didn't realize it had been that long. Yes, the lanyard is really, really cool, and it's sort of like a bungee material, but very, very high quality. Joshua is a former military guy, so he wants to make sure that you guys get. Thank you so much, T-Birds Digging Daff, and I appreciate the donation. Again, all of that money goes back to my channel, especially. So thank you so much, T-Birds Digging Daff. Yes, I can 3D most of the XP Deus II if y'all need anything. Yes, if you want to contact Wisco Detect, I'll definitely give him a shout. And I'm looking forward to using 1.1. This week, I really should be able to get out. Of course, you guys know I live near the beach, so I'm hoping to get out on the beach with it. I got a couple of relic sites that I can go to. So I'm looking forward to using 1.1 and showing you guys what 1.1 is capable of. So hopefully I'll have that. Hi, Fred. Thank you so much, buddy. You are a great supporter of the channel. I really appreciate it. Any questions? Thank you, Bells, so much. Thank you, Bells. I really appreciate you. And again, I hope everybody has a wonderful weekend. Thank y'all for being here tonight. Hopefully you enjoyed having Matt on. We've got Diggin' Dixie coming up next week on a Thursday night. So Friday night, I've got graduation. So That's why we're moving to Thursday at 7:30. But check her out. She's going to be awesome on the show. I think she's going to do a fantastic job. And again, she's a wonderful detectorist. I've watched her videos. If you haven't already, check out her channel and go see what she's about. And we will have her on here really soon and next Thursday night. And if anything happens between now and Thursday, I may pop in and do another live stream, but I'll let you guys know. But thank y'all again, everybody, for being here tonight. And I look forward to seeing you guys soon on my next adventure. And hopefully I'll have some more content coming with 1.1, which I should. And we'll get that up as soon as possible. I hope you guys are doing great. Have a wonderful weekend. Take care, and we will catch you guys on the next adventure. See you guys. Take care. Have a great night.